Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get us started. I know some folks are still arriving. Please feel free to get coffee, get a bagel or a muffin there. But we have a really ambitious schedule, so we want to stay on track. We're going to be pretty tough taskmasters this morning. So thank you. First of all, good morning, welcome. Thank you for being here. My name is Terry Burgess-Sandu. I'm the Executive Director of Hard-Hatted Women, and we are really, really thrilled to have the honor to host this event at the request of the Women's Bureau and Nancy Chen. It's just a terrific gathering of a bunch of really smart folks, and so we're really eager to hear what your input is today. You should have an agenda in front of you. Let me run through what's going to be happening. We're first going to be having some presentations from our panelists, and then we will break into small group discussions. You'll stay at your table. So if you find that you're at a table with a couple folks, we might ask people to shift around so we have some good representation and good mix of folks. The questions that you'll be discussing in your small groups are on your agenda. Each table will have a table recorder who will capture your input, and then that input is going to be put into a report that we'll be giving to Nancy, and that she in turn will be giving to the Secretary of Labor. We'll then come back, have very, very brief report outs from your small group discussions, and then we'll go back into another small group discussion at your tables for a reflection, and then we'll come back for what is going to be a listening rather than just a talk with Nancy Chen and all of us together. All of your presentations and the report outs and this group discussion is being videotaped, and your table recorders have also been briefed on the agenda, and they'll be helping to encourage us to stay on task. Do know that all of the conversation is being taped because we want to actually post this on our website, and I believe the Department of Labor may also be posting this. So you are taking part in a very public, very exciting conversation that will be shared with many people who I am sure will be riveted to know what we have to say. So let's get started. So as I mentioned, my name's Terry. I'm the Director of Hard-Hatted Women, and I know it's very early and many of you traveled, and so thank you. We decided to make a really big day of it since it's such an occasion to have Nancy here in Cleveland. She's also speaking this afternoon at noon right here at the City Club if anyone wants to stay for that. I'm sure that there will still be seats available. And then she'll be attending as our special guest this evening to Women on the Rise, our annual benefit. The question that we are here this morning to answer is how can Ohio serve as a national leader for the inclusion of women in the green economy? And also we hope to talk about why is it an economic imperative that we do so. Addressing the second question, which I like to call the so what factor, is really crucial to solving the historic underrepresentation of women in many of the fields that we'll be talking about. When you see the front page of that's in the front page that was waiting for me outside my hotel room this morning, women gain in historic job shift, you think, all right, we're doing okay. Problem solved. But really the economic numbers we know, and I know that Julie will be talking about this, are much more complex. But what we also want to do is not make this an us versus them. This is not about men versus women. We all have husbands, wives, mothers, fathers, sons, nieces, nephews, people we care about of both genders. We're really in this together. And so I'm sure what we'll be talking about today is how as we invest our tax dollars and our philanthropic dollars and our training dollars to reinvent our economy and rebuild it with green jobs, women and girls must be a part of that equation. Otherwise, we're going to be missing a historic opportunity to address the economic status of women and women-headed families, which we know continues to trail those of men, and also the impact that that has on communities. And luckily, employers themselves recognize the need to recruit from a wider talent pool, and they have become leaders in exploring creative solutions to the recruitment and retention of women. I'm thrilled that Genevieve Tuchow has joined us today from American Electric Power, and she'll be bringing her perspective as an employer on that topic. And also I wanted to thank Paulo DeMario, who will be helping us understand the work that the state of Ohio is doing to align both its talent development networks and the university systems to meet the needs of emerging green industries. My own perspective on this topic is informed by the work that I do at Hard-Hatted Women. Since its founding in 1979, Hard-Headed Women has helped hundreds of women enter and thrive in non-traditional fields. Women that we've served work today in the salt mines under Lake Erie, as highway technicians and building maintenance staff, as landscapers, set designers, operating engineers, painters, iron workers, electricians, steel workers, and yes, even a few office workers and probably a few nurses thrown in. Name a field, and I guarantee you I can find a woman either in our community or certainly in Ohio who excels in that field. During its 3 decades of service, Hard-Headed Women has not only set new standards here in Cleveland and Ohio for the recruitment and retention of women, but it's also contributed to the development and replication of a set of national best practices that we'll be talking about more today. I am really happy to see, as she's getting coffee back there, Hard-Headed Women's first executive director, Kathy Augustine, who led the organization for 15 years. I want to make sure everyone in this room knows that Kathy continues to play a very important national role as the president of Tradeswomen Now and Tomorrow, and they're contributing to policy at the national level, especially related to the stimulus and ensuring that women are included in those jobs. So thank you again, Nancy, for allowing us this opportunity and from traveling from Chicago to be here. I mentioned the 2 other events that she'll be speaking at. And then also just to let you know, because we have a lot to pack into these 2 hours, we're not going to do sort of the traditional going around the room to do introductions. I do hope that many of you had the chance to meet each other this morning during the registration and certainly at your tables. The list of participants was emailed to everybody, and it will also be included in the final report that will go to the Department of Labor, and all of that will be available online. If you need, because we don't have any scheduled breaks, if you need to get coffee, use the restrooms, please don't be shy. And so finally, a few more things, thank yous before I turn this over. Sue Nelson, where are you? Many of you know Sue. She has worked countless hours to pull this event together and create a really excellent format for the discussion. So thank you, Sue, and thank you, Kathleen Wildman, who is still registering people out there, who has also worked very, very hard on this. I want to thank Cleveland Mayor Frank Jackson and Tracy Nichols, the head of the Economic Development Department, whose representative should be here. They have actually helped to underwrite the cost of this event, so thank you. And then thank you to the City Club, and also, of course, to Hard-Headed Women staff and volunteers. Everyone has been working really hard for a while to pull together not only this event, but the other 2 events today, so thank you. So Nancy, who will be coming up to the podium, leads the Midwest Regional Office of the Women's Bureau for the U.S. Department of Labor. The Women's Bureau is the only federal agency designated by Congress to address issues and concerns of working women. In 1997, Nancy became the first Asian American regional administrator in the history of the Women's Bureau. She directs and develops the regional programs to help women achieve better jobs, better earnings, and better living in the states of Illinois, Indiana, Minnesota, Michigan, Ohio, and Wisconsin. And we thought we were busy. A native of China, Nancy came to the United States as a student in the 1960s. She was a founding member of the Organization of Chinese Americans, Chicago chapter, and was a board member of the Asian American Institute. Nancy, thank you for being here and welcome.
Good morning. And thank you, Terry, for such a kind introduction. And it's great to be back in Cleveland. I have not been back for several years and see a lot of changes. Thank you for joining us today, especially quite early in the morning. You know, I was saying that I know that some of you actually drive from out of town, Columbus or maybe further. And here I said, oh, I shouldn't complain just because, you know, I'm now in the Eastern time zone and 8 o'clock is 7 o'clock in Chicago. And I would like to thank Terry and also Sue for organizing such a fantastic event, and with all of you, all these influential leaders here in Ohio. And I also want to thank the board president of Hard-Headed Women, Mary Feinstein, right? Feinstein. Sorry. For your support. Hard-Headed Women has been a strong partner with the Women's Bureau for several decades. It has received the very well-known Women in Apprenticeship and Non-Traditional Occupation grants several times now.